Yo, what's up, guys? It's your host with the most, Griever, as always, bringing you a porn-stashed review of Jujustu Kaisen, chapter 155. Now, I like this chapter, and I'm liking Hakari even more. I'm really liking Hakari. You guys liking Hakari? I like Hakari. Hakari's basically explaining pyramid schemes, how gamblers look at life, how everything, technically, we don't like to think of it as gambling, but everything, and Itadori challenges this early on in the chapter, but it's like, what about people who want to live peaceful lives and stuff? But he's breaking it down that everybody, life is a game. Everything is a game. Everything is gambling. Everything is taking risks. Everything is taking chances. Regardless of the percentage base of success of winning, you're still taking a chance. Nothing is 100%. And he goes into this very cynical outlook on life, but it's not necessarily wrong. And he does a couple of analogies, does a couple of comparisons, and I just really like it. I like Hakari's attitude here. He's basically like, we thought at the beginning, he's like, oh man, is he going to start out with a pyramid scheme? He's like, no, he's explaining the concept of gambling. Now, we all assume that Hakari's character would be all about chance, all about luck, all about gambling. And clearly gambling was one of the big things, right? And it seems to be the case here with Hakari. He also seems to have a really hard head. Now, what I really liked about this chapter, honestly, I think this review is going to be kind of short because realistically, that summarizes about 70% of the chapter. That really summarizes most of it. Because Hakari, at the end of the last chapter, right, he went off and he talked about this whole, if you could make 1 million, yen for 1 hour work, would you do it? Or 100, whatever. And he's like, and Itadori poses the question. He asks a good question. He goes, well, what's the work? What's the 1 hour work? Because 1 million yen, but you got to murder a guy. Something like it could be anything, right? He didn't say what type of work. So Itadori asks the right question. Actually, big brain for Itadori there. Good job. He asked the right question. He says, what type of work? Hakari goes, good question. That information will cost you 200,000. See, so and then he explains how that all works. It's all about passion. It's all about scamming. Like this is a scam. It's a scam for you to make money. It's a scam for me to make money. It's just this revolutionary. It's just a constant circle of being a scam. The scammer pretends to be wealthy, but the scammer will get wealthy if the person believes it. Now, why would they believe it? Because, and he goes on to explain, because of passion. He said, people have passion. Like, you can't do almost anything without passion. I can't record this video for you guys without passion. If I did, I'd be sitting here going, yeah, guys, Jujustu Kaisen, chapter 155. I don't even really want to do this. See, like nobody's going to do that, right? You got to have passion of what you do. Not to say that people can't have their off days, but anything you enjoy, anything you go for. What are your hobbies? Because you have passion in your hobbies. You have passion in your life. You have passion everywhere. Passion is all around us. And Hakari is not wrong in this sort of idea. Is that drive and energy and passion, it all stems from that same basic emotion of enjoyment, of passion. You're passionate about something, you pursue it. And you want something out of it. You go for it, right? Whether you play video games, whether you paint, whether you read manga, whether you fall in love, everything it sort of goes down into this one little easy category. Oversimplified maybe, but not necessarily wrong as a general rule. Passion is what leads people. And Hakari really intrigues me now. Hakari intrigues me because he's got this idea of he loves people's passion. He understands that everybody has this passion. You got to find out what the passion is, but everybody has passion in some way, shape, or form. So he basically says, now, when you do a more a more direct exchange of passion, what is that? And Itadori guesses it, right? Again, he usually guesses it, and he says, gambling. He's like, you're absolutely right. And that's when he goes into the gambling side. Life is a gamble. This is a gamble. Everything's gambling. People think gambling, they think casinos and losing your house and stuff like that. It's like, and people, what are the evils? What are the evils? Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, right? But no, nowadays, what are your addictions? What are the common addictions? Well, alcohol, drugs, gambling. Those are some of the top. There's very few people who haven't heard of AA before, right? There's no one who hasn't heard of, going into not an asylum, but going into going into a ward, going into a program, getting a sponsor. We know these terms are so common because so many people have this problem. Why? Because people gamble. Gamble is another addiction. It's a very, very common addiction. So, and he brings it up. A lot of people, a lot of women dumped me over gambling. But the thing is that that's not, what people don't like isn't the gambling. It's not the high stakes or anything. It's the loss and the ruin, as he puts it. It's the loss. It's the chances of losing that people don't like. Everybody loves a winner. If you were a gambler, if you're a high stakes gambler, but you only win, nobody's going to tell you that you're doing something wrong, doing something stupid. If I go out and I spend 3 years in casinos and gamble and I become a millionaire, nobody's going to tell me that I made the wrong choice. They might say, wow, that was risky, or wow, that was, but nobody's going to berate you. Nobody's going to berate you. You know why? Because you won. But if you lose, if you lost, that's when people say, oh, well, you shouldn't have gambled. You shouldn't have gambled. And he's like, that's a misconception. Life is a gamble. Everything's a gamble. I really like where Hakari's mindset is. I did not expect this from Hakari. I don't know about you guys, even in that, like, as far as chapter 154, I didn't expect Hakari to be so intriguing, so in depth into this idea of what life is, what it should be, all this stuff. And he even says that now his plan, of course, is to sort of control people's passion. He's basically an entrepreneur. He understands sort of how people are driven. He wants to make his fight club legit by the sounds of it. Like in all, what he wants to change is the system. He wants his fight club to be legal. He wants all this shit to be legal, and he wants to profit off of it. That's basically what he wants. He's just basically he's a bit of a shrewd entrepreneur, a bit of a sleazy entrepreneur who's basically trying to change the rules so that he can do his not exactly legal activities, so he can do his shit and he can reap the benefits. He can use people's passion. He puts it that that's what he wants to do. He wants to use the passion of other people to make a profit. And you know what? Technically speaking, that's what every corporation in the world does in today's society. So, I mean, you take someone's passion. You think people, producers. What do producers do? What do companies do? What does Disney do? What does WB do? What do they all do? They throw a buttload of money at directors, writers, and stuff and said, make us money. They use people's creative talent for profit. They take the passion people have to make movies, to make manga, to make TV shows, to make art, to make anything. They use their passion to make a buck. This is sort of the way the world works, and he just wants to get in on it. It's sort of the deal. So you know what? Respect. Got to give the man his due course. Got to give the man respect. He's not necessarily wrong. He's oversimplifying a few things, of course. And Yuji does bring up what about people that just want to live like normal lives and stuff. And he's like, well, I don't really know anybody like that, because there's always something you're passionate about, right? Like, you could argue for me, anybody can be tempted with anything. Like, I think I got a pretty good life. I think I'm pretty happy. I got like my main goals in life pretty much almost all settled. And I'm only 30, so that's really good. But for example, I'm passionate about YouTube. That being said, I'm not very successful on YouTube. So if somebody were to dangle that YouTube subscriber carrot in front of my face and they said, all right, here's the conditions to get that carrot, I'd be tempted. There's always a chance. There's always a gamble on that, right? Because I'd like to be successful on YouTube. I'd like to make money off of YouTube. And I'm passionate about making videos on YouTube. It's something I like to do. So why not try to make money off it? So Hakari is no different than everybody else. It's just some people won't admit that realistically it sounds seedy, doesn't it? It doesn't sound great in theory. But most people are, that's what they want to do. Like, people have a passion, and if they can make money off of it, I don't know very many people, as Hakari sort of points out. I don't think this is translated correctly. What Hakari said wasn't that he doesn't know anybody who just wants to sit back and enjoy a beer. Yours truly. That one was for Hakari. But it's that there are people that everybody has a passion and everybody would be willing to make money off it. He doesn't know anybody who wouldn't, like for me, for example, was the YouTube thing. For you, it might be, hey, you love playing video games? How about you make money playing video games? Right? Or you love cooking. How about you make money cooking? Or you love gardening. You love auto mechanic. You love anything. You know, you love fighting. Right? What are you going to do with that? Like, if somebody offered you the chance to benefit off of something you're passionate about, I think we'd all be tempted, and a lot of us would say yes, depending on the situation. So, I don't think Hakari's wrong here. I think Hakari has a really good grasp of human psyche at this point, at least, especially in today's society and stuff. So, and he goes into this little speech about how he wants to change the regulations of things so he can make the Fight Club, you know, to change the Jujustu regulations and stuff like that. And if he can change all this with the higher ups and stuff, then he can, like, sort of expand. He wants to expand. He wants to get bigger and bigger, and he's limited by the fact that it's illegal. He's limited because it's an underground thing. So he wants that, and he wants people under him. He wants stuff. So Hakari is basically a salesman. He's doing a sales pitch to Yuji, right? Now, Yuji, not interested. We know Yuji, but he's not interested, right? Now, this is where the phone rings. Now, when the phone rings, Hakari ignores it, and then he asks him if he wants something to drink, blah, blah, blah. And, of course, Yuji does the classic. I just read the scene in Bleach again. It reminds me of the Soul Society, Shunsui and Chad. It's like, he's like, all right, you want to sit down, have a drink with me? He's like, I can't, I'm underage. Very few people, I know a couple, so this is not, but why is it almost all the main characters or all the characters in manga when they're underage, nobody chooses to drink? Like, everyone's like, no, it's against fucking, you know, man, I was drinking underage for like 5-6 years before it was legal, you know? So, I mean, it's just like, what are you doing? You know, like that. I can't believe that this many amount of teenagers wouldn't go, like a 17-year-old or a 16-year-old wouldn't go, yeah, I'll try one drink. And maybe for comedy reasons, they get plastered, you know? But why are they always so straight-laced and, you know, white-tied about it? You know what I mean? Like, it's funny because it's happened more than once. It's happened more than once in shonen manga, and it seems like a thing. Not saying that they should promote that, but... And it doesn't seem... like Yuji's, I don't know what he was serving because it didn't look like it was any different. So maybe he was drinking alcohol in the end anyways. I'm not sure. It sort of looks like a Coca-Cola bottle, but that could also be a friggin' beer bottle. So I have no idea. And then where he's pouring it in the little shot glasses and the little, in the whiskey glasses, I'm assuming that it was something a little stronger. Maybe some scotch, maybe some brandy. I don't know. Hakari seems like a brandy sort of guy. He seems like a scotch, like, you know, would you like some rye? Would you like some scotch? You know, so he starts talking about Gojo, and the thing about Gojo is that he catches him in a lie so quickly, and Yuji, this is where Yuji is not, like, he asks some pretty smart questions, but now we have to see through that Yuji's not exactly the brains of the manga, the brains of the operation. And in the end, he does go into this whole, wait, you're pretending you don't know Gojo? Every single sorcerer in the world knows of Gojo. Why are you pretending you don't know him? You're from Jujutsu High. So he figured it out. So Hakari figured it out. He downs his drink, and then he starts kicking his ass. He starts kicking Yuji's ass. And Yuji tries to fight back, honestly, because Hakari's punching him, he's kicking him, he's doing all this stuff. He mentions that Kilala only calls him, or Kirara, depends. We're going to have to wait for the anime, honestly, guys, because L's and R's. But Kilala's call, she never calls him unless it's a sign for emergency. And we'll get into that whole she's a she thing in a minute. Because, once again, this chapter translation, why don't you just say it or don't? Like, Jesus, I'm having a big deal with this. But yeah, so this is where Yuji tries to headbutt Hakari and, tries to fight back. And Hakari just takes it and he's just like, that all you got? You know, so I'm like, yeah, Hakari a badass. So... then we jump over to the last scene of the chapter. It's Megumi and Panda still asking Kilala for help and stuff like that. And the one thing that pissed me off about this is that they say, this person. That's their adjective. That's the pronoun they use. They keep calling Kilala either Kilala, Hakari, or this person. They say this person like 3 times in this scene, in this chapter. It's like, would you just give me a pronoun? Is it a he? Is it a she? Everybody's confused. I'm still believing that Kirara is actually a she. If it is a he, I don't care. Just let me know so I get the pronouns right. I'm sick and tired of sitting here. So Kirara. Like, I can go Megumi. Now, what Megumi does is he, see? Because I can use the pronoun because Megumi is a he. But without knowing, I feel like I might be insulting somebody without even knowing it, and that's not fair. Come on, Gay, whatever, however you say his name. Come on, give me a pronoun. Let me know. I don't care if Kirara is trans or not. I don't care. Just let me know so I get it right for future reviews. Like, Jesus, so we can move on. This would make Hakari actually a really progressive person when you think about it, because I don't think we've had many relationships where a seemingly straight male character is dating a trans person. We have very few trans characters in manga, and usually they aren't in an actual relationship. Now, we can assume by the looks of it, it seems like Kirara, at the very least, holds some feelings for Hakari. I assume they're together. So if they are, and she is trans, that's pretty progressive for manga. So, but I need to know. So, I don't know what they're doing here. Like, stop, like, beating me around the bush here. It's getting annoying, honestly. 2 chapters, and I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed because I actually like Kirara. I just want to know. And if Kirara's a girl, cool. Like, I just think it's frustrating. It's frustrating, but either way, they explain the situation. Panda and Megumi explain the situation that they need Hakari's help and stuff. Kirara explains to them that basically, but you're the ones who shut us out and stuff like that. The higher ups, they didn't like us. Panda sort of explains that the higher ups in the Jujustu, they sort of like certain curse techniques, but they fear and disapprove of others. So they sort of try to push those ones away and stuff. It's very regimented. It's very unfair. It's very, oh, these powers we can mold, we can use. They're clean. Oh, those are dirty powers. That sort of literally the culling game. But it was happening well before with the higher ups and stuff. And I can totally see that. Look at all what we know about the Jujustu Kaisen world. You can totally see the government and the clans and stuff doing that. You can totally see the higher ups doing that shit. So I'm not totally against that. What I do like is that Kirara does not recognize, does not believe that Gojo was sealed. And honestly, that's not a bad response. At first I was like, okay, now we're going to go down this road. But realistically, it's Gojo. As Hakari set up earlier in the chapter, it's Gojo. So who would believe that he was sealed? Who would believe a lie like that? Nobody would believe, oh, Gojo Satoru's dead. Nobody's going to believe that. Nobody's going to believe that. I without proof up front, nobody's going to believe that. So, and she says, like, you guys have Gojo to wipe your asses. What do you need Hakari for? You don't need our help. There's got to be an ulterior motive. You guys don't need our help. You have Gojo. And then Megumi explains. He says, Gojo was sealed, and that's why we lost. That's why we need Hakari. And just dumbfounded. Dumbfounded face. Might be my thumbnail. Just like, no. So, and they both recognize right away, Panda and Fushiguro, they both recognize right away that, no, she don't believe us at all. Now, Megumi is trying the rabbit escape technique. So, maybe hoping to be like smother her with cuteness or something, like a Rukia Kuchiki thing going on. I don't know. I don't really know what the idea is, because he said it's called rabbit escape. But he says he's going to try to persuade this person. And try to persuade her to see if, okay, is this the case? Like, because the negotiations with Hakari, because nobody knows what's going on right now with Yuji and Hakari, but the negotiations with Hakari will go a lot better if we convince Kirara that we're telling the truth. So that's the end of the chapter 155. I found it extremely interesting, honestly. I found the entire chapter was really, really interesting. It made total sense that Kirara would not believe that Gojo was sealed. And it also makes sense. Hakari is a very intriguing individual. I've got a lot more respect for Hakari right now. I think that he's really cool and seemingly doesn't seem to be a coward. I was sort of worried about that. Maybe he's a sort of I don't want to fight sort of idea. Like I send my pawns to do that for me. I'm not much of a fighter sort of character. No. This dude cracks his knuckles and boom, boom. I'll kick, I'll punch, I'll fight. he's reminding me of a lot of badass characters. So I'm looking forward to the next chapter. What did you guys think of the chapter, though? This is a bit of a longer review because I really wanted to dive into Hakari's psyche, Hakari's mindset, because there was a lot of dialogue there, and it made a lot of sense. It really did. There was a lot there going on, and at first I thought it was going to be a one-dimensional pyramid scheme at the end of the last chapter, and he was going to try to sell Yuji on that. But realistically, he's breaking down, yeah, that would be a pyramid scheme. But here's why people do pyramid schemes. You know what I mean? So either way, here's how people get scammed, etc., etc. So either way, I thought it was an excellent chapter. What did you guys think? Let me know down in the comment section down below. As always, like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you guys back here again next time. Don't forget to drink responsibly, as always. Even Hakari did not waste good alcohol. He downed his drink before starting the fight. You don't waste good alcohol. Hakari the man. All right, we'll see you guys back here next time for chapter 156. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. Bye-bye.